ශෛලපුර විරාජමාන වූ මුතුන් මල්කට බඳු දළදා සමිඳු වැඳ අවසර ගන්නේ උතුම් පෙරහැර කරුණ වහන්සේ ගජ තේජසින් යුතුව වැඩම වීමට පින් ලැබෙති වන්දාමි සාදු මමලං ජිනදා.
สวัสดีค่ะ Greetings our viewers at home ขอขอบคุณอาจารย์สานุแล้วก็อาจารย์มะตูม Thank you to Dr. Sanu and Dr. Matum. Today I would like to introduce you to two very important people who will talk about a very big and important Buddhist event in Sri Lanka. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Seum Sukh Patthamasathan, and I'm doing also program on Buddhist online and program on Buddhism online. And let me introduce Venerable Dr. Pramahamathiyya. He's a Sri Lankan monk who's lived in Thailand for more than almost 20 years. Venerable Dr. Pramahamathiyya, who talked about this important event together with Ayupawan, Ambassador Samantha, who is the Sri Lankan ambassador in Thailand. This event that I'm talking about is the annual event celebrating the Tooth Relic, which is at the Temple of the Tooth Relic in Kandy. And every year it's a very big event in August. But this year, because of COVID-19, we will see this event together online. And they will tell us the importance of this place and the celebration of the Sacred Tooth Relic, which is recognized by UNESCO Heritage. Let me give the microphone to the Venerable, please.
Thank you, Madam Seum Sukh, and His Excellency Ambassador of Sri Lanka, Madam Samantha Jayasuriya. Today we are here to talk about the importance and significance of the Tooth Relic of the Lord Buddha, which is situated in the Tooth Relic Temple in Kandy, and the big event that is happening right now in Sri Lanka, which is a long held tradition that has been continuously held in Sri Lanka for the blessing and for the purpose of giving opportunity to the people in Sri Lanka and all around the world to come and pay respect to the most sacred tooth relic of the Lord Buddha. As we know, in Buddhism we venerate or respect to the Lord Buddha in various ways, because after the demise or passing away of the Buddha, we the Buddhists had we call it in Pali Chedi, to commemorate and to pay respect to the, especially to the virtue of the Lord Buddha, and to commemorate the virtue of the Lord Buddha and pay respect to our master, which is, as we know, Uddesika Chedi, which is the as a representative of the Buddha. For example, like Dhammacakka or the wheel of the Dhamma, or in the later period, the image or the statue of a Lord Buddha is this item or this chedi, which the Buddhists used to commemorate and to remember about the virtues of the Lord Buddha. And secondly is the Saririka Dhatu or Saririka Chedi, which is the bones of the Lord Buddha or the relics of the Lord Buddha that has remained after the cremation of the Lord Buddha. So this tooth relic that is situated or located in Sri Lanka is one of those bones or relics of the Lord Buddha that we have until today. The importance of this tooth relic is because after the cremation of the Lord Buddha, there were only 7 parts of the body of the Buddha remained as it was in former way, because all other bones turned into in separate or small particles that we venerate or that we keep as the relic of the Lord Buddha. But only the canine tooth of the Lord Buddha and the forehead bone of the Lord Buddha and also some other 2 parts which is in the chest of the Lord Buddha remained as it was before. So therefore that is why there is this importance given to the tooth of the Lord Buddha. One, because it remained as what it was before, and secondly because the teaching of the Lord Buddha passed through his mouth, passing and touching the tooth of the Lord Buddha. That is why this much of importance given to the Lord Buddha by the Buddhists all over the world. Moreover, when the tooth relic was brought to Sri Lanka by Princess Hemamala and Prince Danta in the 4th century AD, which is 800 years after the passing away of the Lord Buddha. So when they brought this Buddha's tooth relic to Sri Lanka, the king of that time, King C. Meghavanna, he very gladly received this tooth relic of the Lord Buddha and placed it in a very near place to the palace of the king. So, and the king and the Buddhists in Sri Lanka at that time respected this tooth relic as a living Buddha, as a representative of the living Buddha. That is why this much importance is given to this tooth relic.
Yes, then may I ask the ambassador to say a little bit on the importance and how great this event is usually and the history about this.
Ayubowan, may you all have long life. Swadika, I'm indeed very delighted and honored to be present today at this MCU TV to speak about the sacred temple of tooth relic. And in that context, I want to appreciate and give a big thank to the Mahachulalongkorn University Public Relations Department and also to MCU TV and Venerable Pramettaya and also Kun Somsuk for giving us this opportunity. And as we talk, the cultural capital of Kandy in Sri Lanka is being enthralled by the Asala Perahera, as we call it, one of the unique cultural pageant in Asia, and the grand finale of this cultural pageant will be on 3rd August, as Kun Somsuk just mentioned, since the COVID situation has prevented many Buddhists around the world. Usually about 100,000 people would gather into the city of Kandy to witness the cultural pageant, but this year we will all have the opportunity to watch it at our own comfort from our homes, thanks to the Dalada Maligawa Media Unit and Sri Lanka Tourism, that they will broadcast this through social media and also through satellite channels. And at the end of this program, I think this information will be shared. So what I would try to share today is, as Venerable Metteyya Thero just mentioned, the king at that time during 800 years ago, he said very gladly accepted the sacred tooth relic. And then down the line of the monarchy in Sri Lanka up until the year 1815, all the kings in Sri Lanka took it a point to preserve the tooth relic, because there is a very great relationship between the ownership or the custodianship of the sacred tooth relic and to the right for the monarchy. As well as the Buddhists around the country, they also did a lot of commitment, dedication to protect. So the final resting place of the sacred tooth relic is the place that we see today, the sacred temple of Dalada Maligawa. And the cultural pageant is not only an aesthetic procession, it carries the history of Sri Lanka's socio-religious aspects, the deep-rooted traditions of the country, and also the arts and drumming, dancing, that cultural aspects. Why the Dalada Perahera, as we call it, is unique, as you said, it is UNESCO recognized World Heritage Site. So as the 22 million Sri Lankans, the majority Buddhist cherish, there are 500 million Buddhists all over the world, including the 98% population. The Thai Buddhist, we all venerate because it's a World Heritage. And then the other uniqueness is the Dalada Perahera. It continues as 10 consecutive Peraharas. We call it the 5 Kumbal Perahera, followed by 5 Randoli Perahera, and the final Perahera, as I said, will be on the 3rd of August, which on day by day, the route of the procession gets extended, the number of drummers, dancers, the elephants, and the splendor of the procession gets enhanced. So if anybody wish to see the full glamour of this gorgeous cultural event, I would say that it should be the final Randoli Perahera. And one other important aspect why this whole cultural pageant become unique is it also showcased the symbiotic relationship between the Hinduism and Buddhism, especially the cultural aspects of the practicing aspects of the two religions. The Dalada Perahera would start once the head of the Pullayar Kovil comes and greets the lay custodian of Dalada Maligawa. We call him Diya Vadana Nilame, the lay custodian. They greet each other, and then following that greeting, the lay custodian will carry the golden casket symbolizing the tooth relic onto the back of the golden casket of the royal tusker of the Dalada Perahera. And then the cultural pageant goes on to street. As in good old days, the Perahera starts with whip crackers, and the sound of the whip crackers resembles thundering. And it's not an easy job to crack the whip, to get the sound, get the message across that the Perahera is proceeding. Then comes the fireball acrobats. Once the fireball acrobats play it with so much dedication and consciousness, it will resemble lightning, because one of the other uniqueness of the Dalada Perahera, it shows as a centerpiece of our cultural mastery, but at the same time it invokes blessings for prosperity as well as to ward off diseases. And then in the part of the prosperity, when a country like Sri Lanka, like Thailand, based on agrarian society, the rain, timely rain and the dry period is very important. So this resembles the whip cracking and the fireball dances. Then comes the frontline officer, we call the Peramunarala. He comes on the back of the first elephant carrying the manuscripts of Ola leaves which has the mandate from the king which writes about all the rituals of how to conduct the Perahara, and this is an age-old tradition. So he symbolizes this and he comes first. Then you have the Gajanayaka Nilame. Gaja means the elephant, so he is responsible for all the elephants, and we will have about roughly 80 odd elephants parading, and these elephants are decorated and their gowns that are being used are having traditional motifs. They are very colorful. Then in the part of the procession you will have the Kandyan drummers, the dancers. They perform in Dalada Perahara as a veneration to the Lord Buddha, and it is a privilege for any performing artist to be part of the Dalada Perahara, and you will believe that there are some performers who are as old as 80 years. They have been in the procession for about 40 times, and then there are young budding artists who would take forward the tradition. Then the other aspect, once the Dalada Perahara, the first segment of the Dalada Perahara we call it, is over, there will be 4 other processions starting simultaneously from the 4 Devalas. As I said, this will showcase the relationship between the Hindu religious practices. There are about 12% of Hindus in Sri Lanka, whereas about closer to 78-80% are Buddhist. So these two religions have been in very close association. Therefore, the 4 Devalas, the Natha Devala, the guardian god of Natha, and the guardian god of Vishnu. We believe he is the protective guardian over the country. Then we have the Skanda, god Skanda or god Kataragama. Then we have goddess Pattini. Goddess Pattini is the goddess who is responsible for curing and taking care of health, especially for contagious diseases like smallpox, chickenpox. And that part of the procession is the only part in the Kandy Asala Perahara where you will see female dancers, drummers. And once the 4 Devala Perahara is over, then the final event is the Day Perahara, where there will be cup taking water from the nearby river, and the lay custodian of the Dalada Perahara will parade the next day to the head of the government. In good old days it should be the king of the country, and give the message that the Perahara has been concluded successfully. So you will see on 3rd August the lineup of this procession. It is a cultural climate, in terms of culture, it's a climatic performance, and these have been, the traditions have been coming for centuries, and this is going to be the 1710th time. I don't know whether it is a record of that nature, but it is something, as you very correctly said, for the whole world and entirely to the Buddhist devotees to visit and see. So thank you so much, and I hope we will have some visuals also from the Perahara highlights.
I think we will show the 10 minutes clips of the video. But may I ask, I understand that in this ceremony there is also one elephant which was given as a gift from Thailand to Sri Lanka. And the elephant that performed in this ceremony must have special features, right? Or as I think you explained to me before, they must have the majestic look, and all these elephants are treated special, right?
Yes, you are absolutely right. because Sri Lanka, with our sense of compassionate, it does not limit at treating humans. It goes beyond to the living creatures. And as probably Venerable Metteyya might be able to better explain, when Arahat Mahinda brought the message of Buddhism to Sri Lanka, the message given was the king is the custodian of all the living beings. And so I think in that context, the elephant in Sri Lanka is being considered, especially when they are associated with the sacred temple of Tooth Relic, and he has to have certain features, as you said, to balance out the golden casket that he is carrying, and the way that he walks, because he would be walking inside the temple of Tooth Relic, and once the golden casket carrying the Tooth Relic is placed on his back, he will descend the staircase, and once he put his foot onto the moonstone in the Dalada Maligawa, the Perahara officially gets onto the streets. And the way that he walks on a piece of white cloth, and after the Perahara, I think these elephants are being watched by many people around the Buddhist. And if you visit the Dalada Maligawa, you will also see a museum dedicated to one of the royal tuskers who used to carry the Dalada on his back for many years. And it's being a kind of venerated animal, and I believe one has to be very lucky. So we, as you said, we also have an elephant called Vijay Raja. Raja means that he is in a high royalty, in a higher place, and I'm sure he must also be parading this time as well. So this is a bond of friendship between the two countries, which has very deep-rooted relationship based on Theravada Buddhism.
Yes, I must say that I was very impressed the first time that I saw the ceremony. It's very difficult to explain. It's so grand, so grandeur, and very lively. And I understand even people in Sri Lanka, they in their life, they're looking forward to attend this event. I heard that on the main day, some people come as early as like 5 or 6 in the morning, and the real event would start like 7 in the evening, 7 at night. So it's sort of boosting the feeling, and then they understand the importance. So I'm not sure, would you like to add anything before we go on to the clips?
Yeah, because as the Tooth Relic came to Sri Lanka, and the king was the custodian of that Tooth Relic since the beginning. And as I mentioned earlier, the Tooth Relic was placed in a temple very nearby to the king's palace, so that the Tooth Relic became not only an object of veneration or reverence for the people, Buddhist people, but also it became a symbol of the kingship in Sri Lanka, because the people believe that the person who is possessing this Tooth Relic is the true and real heir to the throne. He is the one who has this righteous power to govern this country, which is believed to be a Buddhist country, and that is why this has this much significance in the Sri Lankan tradition. Not just because it is a very well venerated Buddha's relic, that of course Buddhists are accustomed to venerate the relics of the Buddha and generate merits for themselves, but after it arrived in Sri Lanka, it became associated with the kingship in the country. That is why whenever the capital of Sri Lanka moved from place to place, from Anuradhapura, then afterward it moved to Polonnaruwa and to Dambadeniya and Kurunegala Kotte, and lastly to this Kandy, where it is situated in the present time. So whenever the capital city moved, the king brought these two relics with him and built a temple nearby his king's palace and placed it there and venerated traditionally every day. There were people who took care of this relic and also who carried out all these traditional methods of worshipping this tooth relic, because as I mentioned earlier, this tooth relic is not just a tooth relic for Buddhists in Sri Lanka, it is a symbol, a representative of a living Buddha. They regarded this as a Buddha, a living Buddha living at this place. That is why it is so much venerated and revered by Sri Lankan people, and also not only Sri Lankan people from all around the world admire and worship this tooth relic. There are some incidents in the history of the Sri Lanka that there were kings from Burma, kings from Indonesia, and even the Mongolian king Kublai Khan, the king, they requested kings of Sri Lanka to send them this auspicious and this very highly venerated tooth relic, but the kings of Sri Lanka never gave this very precious sacred relic to anybody out of this country, but they created a replica of the tooth relic and sent them to those countries who requested. Even from China, the kings requested the king of Sri Lanka to send this precious sacred relic to them, because they heard the power and the miraculous powers of this relic that had upon the country. As Madam Ambassador just mentioned, whenever there was a drought or a period, there was no any seasonal rain, because as our Madam mentioned, Sri Lanka is an agricultural country. Therefore, the rain was very essential part of the living or livelihood of the people. So it became a custom and tradition of Sri Lanka to parade possess this tooth relic around the city to invoke blessings on the people, and also it's a method of pleasing the devas or deities and asking for proper seasonal rain for their agriculture. So that is how this procession and how the tooth relic became a very essential and intricate part of Sri Lankan Buddhist culture and the country itself.
It says, just to complement what the Venerable Thero said, it's Devo Vasatu Kalena, that we have timely rain. And you would see in the procession that there are dancers carrying swords, and then they were showing up how the ancient martial arts being done. So this has also been part of the procession. One would wonder why a religious procession would have people carrying swords and shields and dancing. So that explains what the Venerable Thero just said. For the kingship, the king need to have the possession of Dalada. So therefore, throughout the history of Sri Lanka, the Sri Lankans and the king, they protected the Dalada as if they are protecting their own life. So that is to symbolize that dedication and commitment to protect the sacred tooth relic, that these parts of the dancing performances are being included. And the other small aspect, just to mention, we as Buddhists wanted timely rain, and there was certain spiritual praying. When Sri Lanka was under the colonial rule completely under the colonial rule in 1815
Under British rule.
British rule, there was an agreement signed, and I think part of that understanding was to have timely Dalada Perahera. But with the rebellions, conflict coming in Matale in 1828, if I'm not mistaken, the Dalada Perahera was not conducted, and so there was a lot more agitation, and it was associated with a very serious drought. And then the people in Kandy, they wanted this Perahera to be conducted. So with much persuasion, the Perahera was conducted, and immediately following the Perahera, there was heavy rains. And as a result, even today, we call it Dalada Vatura. Vatura means water. So this is an anecdote that is in the Sri Lankan history. So this would also show how much we are bound to the nature, how much we are bound as Buddhists to the spiritual aspects, the culture, the tradition, and it is one climax of all that being reflected in the Dalada Perahera. So now we all have an opportunity to watch that. Thank you.
Yes. Shall we go on to the video clip to show the, the 10 minutes of
we
the real event?
We wanted to present it in Thai language for the benefit of our friendly country, Thailand. So let's have a look.
พิธีแห่อันยิ่งใหญ่แห่งเอเชียแคนดี้เอสราเปรไฮล่าศรีลังกาค่ำคืนในกลางฤดูร้อนระหว่างเดือนกรกฎาคมหรือสิงหาคมของทุกปีจะมีขบวนพิธีแห่ตามขนบประเพณีอันมีสีสันงดงามและยิ่งใหญ่ที่สุดในเอเชียโดยขบวนพิธีจัดขึ้นติดต่อกันเป็นเวลา10 วันทอดยาวไปตามท้องถนนในนครแคนดี้อันเป็นศูนย์กลางทางวัฒนธรรมของศรีลังกาขบวนพิธีเอสราเปรไฮล่าแห่งพระธาตุเขี้ยวแก้วบัดนี้ได้ถือเป็นมรดกโลกแล้วเป็นการผสมผสานกันอย่างลงตัวของพุทธศาสนาและศาสนาฮินดูผู้นำขบวนให้การต้อนรับและอวยพรแด่ดิยาดาวาดานานิลามีผู้พิทักษ์แห่งมาริกาวาเมื่อพิธีเริ่มต้นขึ้นหลังจากนั้นจะเป็นพิธีวางแท่งไม้ศักดิ์สิทธิ์ทั้ง4ชัยวสถานแห่งองค์นาถวิษณุสกันดาและปัตตานีอันเป็นพิธีที่สืบทอดอันมายาวนานเป็นเวลานับพันปีซึ่งในปีนี้นับเป็นวาระโอกาสสำคัญที่จัดขึ้นเป็นครั้งที่ 1710 รันดาริคืนวันสุดท้ายแห่งขบวนพิธีเปรไฮราที่จัดขึ้นเป็นเวลา10 วันจะมีนักเต้นรำมือกลองและนักแสดงต่างๆร่วมกว่า 3,000 ชีวิตเข้าร่วมในขบวนพิธีตลอดจนช้างอีกกว่า80 เชือกที่จะมีส่วนร่วมในขบวนพิธีด้วยเช่นกันมือลงแส้จะตวัดแส้เพื่อเป็นสัญญาณการมาถึงของขบวนพิธีเสียงของแส้เปรียบประหนึ่งดังเสียงฟ้าร้องก่อนที่ฝนจะตกจากนั้นก็จะเป็นการแสดงของนักกายกรรมลูกไฟขบวนพิธีประดับประดาด้วยธงประจำชาติและธง6 สีอันเป็นสัญลักษณ์แห่งพระพุทธศาสนาเพื่อบ่งบอกว่านี่คือพิธีทางศาสนานอกจากนี้ก็จะมีธงพื้นเมืองประจำถิ่นของอาณาจักรสุดท้ายเพื่อแสดงถึงความจงรักภักดีต่อกษัตริย์และการแสดงถึงศิลปะอันงดงามของชาวสิงหนอีกด้วยกษัตริย์คือสัญลักษณ์แห่งตัวแทนผู้ปกปักรักษาพระธาตุเขี้ยวแก้วผู้ถือดาบร่ายรำกระบวนท่าแห่งศิลปะป้องกันตัวตามแบบโบราณแสดงถึงความกล้าหาญและอุทิศตนเพื่อปกป้องพระทันตธาตุเปรมุนีราระหรือเจ้าหน้าที่ในแถวหน้าขบวนพิธีจะนั่งอยู่บนช้างเชือกแรกถือคัมภีร์ใบลานที่ระบุถึงรายละเอียดและคำแนะนำในการประกอบพิธีต่างๆของขบวนพิธีเปรไฮราทั้งหมดอยู่ในนั้นหลังจากนั้นก็จะเป็นการลั่นกลองตามขนบประเพณีชาวแคนดี้ตามด้วยกาจานายากานิลามิหรือหัวหน้าแห่งช้างหลวงจะเสริมสัญลักษณ์ประจำหน่วยงานของตนที่ทำด้วยเงินนั่งอยู่บนช้างเชือกที่2เครื่องแต่งกายของนักเต้นก็จะไม่เพียงแต่มีสีสันที่งดงามเท่านั้นยังแลดูน่าหลงไหลสบายตาอีกด้วยนักเต้นเหล่านี้กำลังแสดง1 ใน 9 ชุดการแสดงพื้นเมืองของชาวแคนดี้ดอกมะพร้าวเป็นสัญลักษณ์แห่งความเจริญรุ่งเรืองนักเต้นมือกลองผู้ถือคบเพลิงและช้างตลอดจนนักดนตรีต่างก็มีหน้าที่ร่วมกันในขบวนพิธีอันงดงามนี้พิธีอันศักดิ์สิทธิ์ที่หยุดทุกลมหายใจต่อหน้าผู้ชมทั้งหลายได้เริ่มต้นขึ้นและจบลงอย่างเป็นระเบียบและงดงามเหล่าศิลปินมีหน้าที่ที่จะต้องแสดงถึงพรสวรรค์ของตนให้เป็นที่น่าตื่นตาตื่นใจแก่ผู้ชม อันเป็นการแสดงเพื่อแสดงถึงความสักการะต่อพระธาตุเขี้ยวแก้วโดยในกลุ่มนักแสดงเหล่านี้มีผู้ที่มีประสบการณ์ช่ำชองมีอายุร่วม80 ปีกระบวนพิธีมีขึ้นในทุกๆปีเกิดจากความพยายามการฝึกฝนความคิดสร้างสรรค์และจะต้องเป็นการสืบทอดวัฒนธรรมอันงดงามอย่างต่อเนื่องทั้งในด้านการแสดงเครื่องแต่งกายพิธีกรรมและการปกปักรักษามรดกโลกแห่งนี้ไว้ให้กับคนรุ่นหลังต่อไปนักเต้นราบันและนักเต้นไม้กระทบกำลังใจจดใจจ่อต่อการฝึกฝนซึ่งต้องอุทิศให้กับการนี้เป็นเวลาหลายปีทีเดียวจุดสำคัญของขบวนพิธีนี้อยู่ที่ช้างหลวงที่มีแคร่ทองคำอันเป็นสัญลักษณ์แห่งพระธาตุเขี้ยวแก้วโดยจะมีช้างอีก2 เชือกประกบอยู่ซ้ายขวาซึ่งเป็นรูปแบบขบวนดังกล่าวนี้ได้รับการสืบทอดมาอย่างยาวนานนับตั้งแต่ศตวรรษที่14เป็นต้นมาทั้งด้านหน้าและด้านหลังช้างหลวงจะมีนักแสดงกว่า40ชีวิตที่เรียกว่านักเต้นเวสโดยนักเต้นเหล่านี้ถือเป็นนักเต้นระบำพื้นเมืองแคนดี้ที่มีฝีมือที่สุดของศรีลังกาผู้พิทักษ์ดีลยวาดานะนิลามีจะเดินตามหลังช้างหลวงที่มีแคร่ทองคำเครื่องแต่งกายของเขาแสดงถึงผู้ปกครองที่ทรงอำนาจของประเทศและยังมีหน้าที่รับผิดชอบในการจัดขบวนพิธีแคนดี้เอสราเปเรฮาราและประกอบพิธีกรรมต่างๆที่เกี่ยวกับวัดพระธาตุเขี้ยวแก้วอีกด้วยส่วนที่2ของขบวนพิธีแคนดี้เอสราเปเรฮาราประกอบด้วยพิธีเปเรฮาราอีก4ขบวนอันได้แก่นัตถเทวราเปเรฮาราเพื่อสักการะต่อองค์นัตถะแห่งศาสนาฮินดูองค์เป็นสัญลักษณ์แห่งพยานพาหนะแห่งองค์นัตถะแถบสีเหลืองในขบวนยังคล้ายคลึงกับแถบเหลืองของชาวพุทธในขบวนพิธีอีกด้วยพิธีถือไม้ศักดิ์สิทธิ์และพิธีตัดน้ำในขบวนพิธีแคนดี้เอสราเปเรฮาราจะอยู่ในขบวนพิธีนี้ส่วนที่3ของขบวนพิธีแคนดี้เอสราเปเรฮาราจัดโดยวัดฮินดูวิษณุเดลวาละเพื่ออุทิศแด่องค์วิษณุกุรุละหรือนกในตำนานซึ่งคล้ายคลึงกับนกอินทรีผลิตดังยานพาหนะขององค์วิษณุสีฟ้าเป็นสัญลักษณ์แห่งเทพฮินดูขบวนพิธีของวัดฮินดูนี้มีความคล้ายคลึงมากกับขบวนพิธีของชาวพุทธในส่วนที่4ของขบวนพิธีแคนดี้เอสราเปเรฮาราจัดโดยคาทรากามะหรือสกันดะเดวาระเป็นการอุทิศแด่องค์คันธรมกามะหรือสกันดะนกยุงสีฟ้าเป็นพาหนะแห่งองค์คันธรากามะสีแดงเป็นสัญลักษณ์แห่งเทพฮินดูส่วนที่แตกต่างอย่างเห็นได้ชัดอีกอย่างหนึ่งในขบวนพิธีนี้คือนักเต้นคาวดินักดนตรีจะแตกต่างจากขบวนอื่นๆ วันที่ 5 ของขบวนพิธีจัดโดยปฏินิเดวาระองค์ปฏินิผู้ปกป้องคุ้มครองเราจากโรคร้ายต่างๆ อาทิไข้ทรพิษ โรคอิสุกอิสัย และยังเป็นสัญลักษณ์แห่งความบริสุทธิ์อีกด้วย ในส่วนนี้นักเต้นและนักแสดงทั้งหมดจะเป็นเพศหญิงในส่วนสุดท้ายหลังจากขบวนพิธีรันโดริก็จะมีพิธีตัดน้ำจัดขึ้นใกล้ๆกับเมืองกาตาเบะและจบลงด้วยพิธีเปราฮิราซึ่งมักจะสิ้นสุดในตอนกลางวันหลังจากนั้นผู้พิทักษ์ดิยาวดานะนิลามิรวมทั้งบัสนายาเกะนิลามิทั้ง 4ก็จะรายงานผลการจัดงานประจำปีให้แก่ผู้ว่าการขบวนพิธีประจำปีนี้มิได้เป็นเพียงส่วนหนึ่งของมรดกทางวัฒนธรรมอันรุ่มรวยของศรีลังกาแต่ยังเป็นสัญลักษณ์แห่งความกลมเกลียวของพุทธศาสนิกชนและชาวฮินดูอีกด้วยขบวนพิธีดังกล่าวก็เพื่อเป็นการสักการะบูชาพระรัตนตรัยและเป็นสิริมงคลแก่พุทธศาสนิกชนกว่า500 ล้านคนให้มีแต่ความเจริญรุ่งเรืองและสุขอนามัยที่แข็งแรงอีกด้วย
So now we've seen the video, which is a very big event, and I believe many of the Thais have visited Sri Lanka, and one place that they never miss is the Temple of the Tooth Relic, including the big group from MCU, the former rectors brought the people to visit. to visit it. The former rector brought the group from MCU to visit the Temple of the Tooth Relic in Kandy. So all the Thai will look forward to watching this on the 3rd of August, the real event. And I think this, before we conclude, maybe you would like to say something, and then we'll say goodbye to the viewers. Yeah.
I would only like to say thank you, Kap Kun Ka, for this opportunity, and invite you all in Dhamma to join us watching and be part of the sacred Dalada Perahera. May the Noble Triple Gem bless all of you.
Yeah. So, as we mentioned earlier, that this event is one of the major part of Sri Lankan tradition, culture and Buddhism in Sri Lanka, which has been carried out for a long period of time since the arrival of this tooth relic to Sri Lanka, and it is a blessing for Sri Lanka itself and also to the whole world at this situation, present situation where there is this pandemic going on, which is causing troubles to people all around the world. So by broadcasting this event worldwide, we do hope that people in the world will overcome all these sufferings that they are encountering right now, and also with the blessings of the Noble Triple Gems and the blessing of the sacred tooth relic, and with the blessing of all the devas or deities that protect the Noble Tooth Relic and also the country, may all beings be well and happy and have a healthy life forever.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I thank you, our guest, Venerable Dr. Pamahamitya, and the Madam Ambassador, for letting us see this great event, and I'm looking forward for that. And thank you, our viewers at home. We will see you again on the real day, the final event on the 3rd of August, in which MCU TV will also link in to televise that. Thank you very much.
රසෙන් කණ්ඩ ශෛලපුර විරාජමාන වූ මුදුන් මල්කට බඳු දළදා සමිඳු ඇඳ අවසර ගන්නේ උතුම් පෙරහැර කරුණ වහන්සේ ගද තේජසින් යුතුව වැඩම වීමට පින් ලැබෙති වන්දාමි සාදු මමලං ජිනදන්ත